Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for August 8th through the 14th, 2022. So before we begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone back this week and to this a very special week as we're beginning on August 8th, 8-8, with the Lionsgate activation. So this is sort of an alignment between Earth and the star Sirius. And so this portal takes place over the Pyramid of Giza. And this is, with the 8-8, it's an abundance frequency. They're writing a time of powerful manifestations. So there's a, they're just talking to me. There's a lot of, there's a light, an intense frequency of light that pours through this portal on the 8-8 yearly, on the annual, the of August 8th. And this high frequency of light that pours through. So I'm getting a sense almost it's like a download, like a shower. Okay, this is a and sort of intensified shower of light. So just imagine almost like it feels like a rainfall, almost like an April shower, where the rain is pouring down really heavily, but it's beautiful. You can see the light, sunlight shining through it. And if we could really intensify the reflections, it would almost be this beautiful white gold energy just pouring down through that stargate, the Lion's Gate. And so there are all kinds of what they're writing beautiful. So it's a beautiful energy. It's a beautiful and positive energy that's pouring through. So we'll get into this a little bit more, and whether just reminding this goes and I've heard that it started. Some people say like around the end of July, 24th, but what they're telling me right now is that it will go through August the 11th. It just showed me the angel number 11. Okay, so 1-1. And so you have time to really connect in and work with this energy. They're saying that those of you who are star seeds are going to be very attuned to these energies in the last couple of weeks. And basically, it's everything with that Leo energy just giving you a lot of confidence, a boost of confidence, really sparking your creativity. You might find yourself just sort of bouldering through, or if that is a word, I don't know if it's a word, but just sort of bouldering through, or sort of pushing through your fears, like there's just nothing that kind of can stand in your way. So you'll feel a little bit more bold in your actions that you take. And it's just a really good time to get things done and to sort of like a quantum leap in things that might unfold for you. Now, of course, this is all about intention. And so if you can have a very clear intention for yourself, then you can really take advantage of these frequency. So I feel like that tapping into your intention, like having a clear intention for yourself. And one of the things that's very interesting is that we tend to think very complicated, or we make matters very, very complicated. And, just think about it. Like, I mean, if you were going on an excursion for the day and you were going to go hiking, and you think to yourself, I'm going to be gone all day and I need XYZ, but you end up packing way too much because our attachment to things, that we have so many things that we think we need, and that's what makes our lives complicated in the first place. It's what makes manifestations complicated. And it almost feels like we should start with less, or learn to do with less, and only really focus in on the essentials. Sort of like in the pandemic, we had no choice, and we had to focus on the essentials. Like we wanted to be, stay connected and have all of our obligations and our things going, that the day-to-day things, but we had to cut back and make do in order for our survival, right? And so it's the same thing here. There's not a lot that you need to get started on anything. The more that you put on your plate to start, it's more likely that you're not going to get very far. And basically what you're doing is you're creating excuses, and they're writing slippery slope. You're creating reasons or excuses to not get very far. So if you're one of those people where reality for you, and I'm not saying I don't identify, where you feel like, oh, this is a great idea, but oh well, it's like, I never get that far. I run out of gas, or I never follow through, or I get distracted, or I have too many things coming up and just sort of getting in the way. Then simplify your purpose, simplify your intention. Let the purpose take you on the journey. Let the purpose add to what you need on that journey, right? So it's better to let your purpose bring things on board that is needed than you trying to do it yourself. Because what you're doing then is that you're coming out of fear, you're manipulating, and your course of actions are coming out of your fears, what you think you might be lacking, and what you think you might need in order to survive, because you're worried about failing. And that kind of energy really disconnects you from these kinds of downloads. And you got to understand, I guess it's something to just put in my heart right now, but it's wonderful that we have an energy like this available to us. But there is no time in the universe where the fullness of the universe's power, which is love, which is just extraordinary, beyond measure. It is not something that we can really put into the word love. It just resonates with us, but it seems like it's elusive when we want to really, really get into the details of what it means. And that's because it is so infinite, so vast, and so deep. And even these words just touch the surface. It's just terminology. They're right in front of us. That we will spend lifetimes upon lifetimes upon lifetimes upon lifetimes getting to know every facet of what that love actually means. And because it's this way, it is also the reason why this love and all the ways that it shows up in these astrological ways, manners, that it doesn't mean that when it's over, the Lion's Gate, that the love that the universe is always giving out, this giving never stops. So, it is because of this that it is always available to us. When these portals open, it makes it a little bit easier. And maybe we like to think that when things are getting a little difficult for us, maybe the universe has figured it out, that it opens it so that we can maintain the connection that's naturally always there. So I would like for you not to think that this is a special time, because every day is a special time, because you are what's special. The universe loves you. God, whatever you call it, Source, loves you. And you are its expression, is what they're writing in front of me. You are its expression of love. You are the miracle, because you have the ability to love, because you were created out of the very essence of this love. Therefore, you are its expression. And all miracles are the function, an expression of love. And so all you have to do is receive, appreciate, have gratitude, give, with appreciation and gratitude, give love. And you start activating miracles. You activate the causation of miracles manifesting, because your acts of love inspire the feeling of love, and the feeling of love is inspirational. And once we are inspired, that hope, the light of hope within each soul, expands and opens and releases faith in such a floodgate that one overrides one's fears and chooses to align with the flow of its original purpose. So your purpose is to love, because that's what you were made of and from. And so therefore, there is no purpose greater to you than your ability to receive and give love. You were made just to be loved. I've heard some say that we were made, in a sense, to keep God company. And we're extensions of Himself, reflecting back to Him, giving back to Him or her or it this love that it is capable of. And so it is a relationship. This whole universe is about relationship. And everything that is reflected, you are doing the same as the source is, or God, or whatever you call it, is doing through you and with you. Your reality is a reflection, a relationship with yourself. The only difference is that we have the ability, because we're in a physical world of duality, but still we are spirit love. But with duality, we get to have almost a different kind of mirror, where the mirror can reflect love and opposites. And we could stop there and say, ooh, like, like something's bad. So, oh, don't go over there. Oh, don't touch that. Oh, don't, it's been like that from the beginning of time, right? In our story. Oh, don't touch this. But it's there. Instead of being afraid of it, we need to utilize it, because it was put there so that you could know what you want, what you like, for choice, free will. The love was so grand that it gave us that opportunity, an opportunity that is not had anywhere else in the dimensions of the universe. This is not an experience that God has, because it only understands and expresses and receives love. It does not have a split personality. But there's a gift here. And we get bogged down in the contrast. We go down the rabbit hole. We take, it's like becomes reality for us, and we get stuck there, and we start to get stuck in this misery aspect of duality, contrast. But when it's just there to give us choice, it's the way that we create through this contrast. And I would like for you to think about it as more like, interior design or fashion, some creative project where you have this spectrum of color palettes to work from, and objects and shapes and all kinds of things, and none of it's good or evil. It's just tools for you and I to play with. And if we never consider them being as a tool of harm or fearing because everything, no matter how good it appears and no matter how harmful it appears, everything can be within duality flip-flopped. Like eating that expression, doing too much of a good thing can be unhealthy. It's sort of these agreements that we formed and collectively in our collective consciousness, that we have assigned things as being bad and good. But that was our choice. That's not the design. That's not the expression of the divine. That is not how love intended you or I to get stuck in those perceptions. It gave you tools. If you use those tools as an outpour of the love inside of you. Those tools will always uplift and inspire. But if you entertain the idea or you fear that this object could be harmful to you, then it will start to resonate, vibrate in that way in your psychology, in your concept of it. And then you'll be afraid of it, like me with, certain machines at the gym. That one that you sit in with the adduction and abduction thing scares me. I feel like one day I'm gonna pull my legs apart, you know, because I've told myself that, because I've never been able to put anything together and have it work. And so I tell myself that complicated mechanics are dangerous for me, but that's not the reason why it was created, and that's an obvious one. But even anything that has seemingly been created to be of harm is, we don't have to attribute or entertain it in a way that creates fear for us. Because when you do, you attach yourself energetically to, that's like going down the rabbit hole, and you attach yourself energetically to the outcomes that you probably have witnessed. But have you ever noticed, like, certain things just haven't happened to you yet because you haven't put it in your mind, you haven't gone down the rabbit hole on that? And that's a key thing to think about, okay? Just something to think about. All right, so let's see where we're going here. And let's take a look at the Archangel. And I'm just gonna, while I'm doing this, just take a moment, because I haven't, welcomed, I don't know if I welcomed people who might be new to the channel. And I thank you for joining us as well, and anybody who's returning this week. And, just at this moment, don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe and leave comments. I don't always get a chance to read them, but I do get a chance to read them. I just don't get a chance to respond. And so welcome to you. And also anyone else, who has, might be looking at this in the future. Also, just an idea for you in this week is to really sort of think about how you can simplify your intentions. Just sort of cut out the excess and just take what you need. Just put on your list, and I would almost say, try to put as little on your list. Try to put as little pressure on yourself as possible, because whatever the list is, it adds more pressure, more complications. Now, this is a wonderful, wonderful sign to have Archangel Hope here, because Archangel Hope, when she comes up, and you can see she has this rainbow energy, and it says, look for a cosmic gift. Remember, you deserve it. And Archangel Hope is the twin flame of Archangel Gabriel. And I'm just reading a little bit about this part here. She has a spiritual retreat above Malaysia. Okay? And it says she brings hope at the end of a challenging experience. So, this is, rewards come in many forms. Rewards come to us in many, many forms. And you have to be sort of open to the cosmic gifts that are coming to you. And when you see, when something inspires you, like, rainbow just ignites, all of these feelings that are inspirational. When that happens, so be aware of something touching your heart, like um, in a profound way, because when your heart is touched, a portal is open for you, a gateway of opportunity is open for you. They write in the word imagination because you even in your imagination, you can touch your heart. And the angels and Archangel Hope can touch you when you are imagining something. But the thing is, most of the times, most of us, we start piling in everything that we think that we have to do, instead of thinking about that one simple step of action that we could take to really get us going, that give us that extra boost, right, of momentum. So allow yourself to imagine, then do, then imagine, then do, then imagine, then do, until you manifest something, some aspect of it. And then appreciate it. Have gratitude. Celebrate it within yourself. Celebrate it with people who you have that bond with. Your tribe, who, the people who, when you tell them something, they're always happy for you, genuinely, because they get you. Those are the people that you share it with, not the other ones who give you that little eye of doubt or skepticism. And it's not because we don't want to hear, some of the things that maybe we might need to hear, but it's at this point that it's not necessary. Usually the kind of stage I'm talking about, it's not necessary for you to be knocked down. It's not necessary for you to go find out, am I crazy or not? I'm mostly inspired by, like doing this work. And there's a lot of stuff that comes to me in my meditations. I'm like, come on, that can't be real. But I keep doing it. And I keep thinking to myself still, boy, this is I'm probably crazy. But no, the thing is, but when I share it with the people who get me, all right, then what happens is that the experiences I'm having keep growing, and so do I. So yeah, don't we want everybody, when we want everybody to agree with us, to validate us is really the word here, then you're setting yourself up, right? So don't do that. All right, let's take a look at the first card for the beginning of the week. And we have the Page of Swords. And so it gives us a sense of, pages are like they're bringing you a message. All right, they're bringing you some kind of good news. I see all the pages as in a positive light, depending on the cards that are around it. So we need to look at to see what are the cards surrounding, because that's going to tell us what the message might be. And this is a message on the scale of our intellect, our dealing with communication. And a little whispering spirit here from the Whispering Spirits Tarot is, I love his childlike, his little hoodie. I've seen some kids, these kids who have really great imaginations, who are very, they play in their minds, and it just reminds me of some kids that I've seen wearing a little hat like this. And so he's standing on the edge of this cliff here, and the feeling is, all right, is he telling us that it's time to jump, right? Maybe time to face our truth, to leave, certain things behind us and start fresh. Is it time to pursue your truth? Have you been in denial? Have you been ignoring messages? Have you been ignoring something that is authentic, and an authentic expression of yourself? Like, are you ignoring messages to move in a new direction? Are you afraid of the challenges that might come up? And the thing here is, with the page, is that willingness to learn. And they're writing that you might be having a lot of reservations right now because you are worried about obstacles or challenges coming up, or you're worried. Maybe it's about you expressing yourself. Maybe there's something coming up, because I'm just seeing this, like where you have to speak in front of people or speak up or something, and you, for some reason, you're afraid of dealing with this. And I don't know why I'm saying the word, like you're thinking like something is your fault. So therefore you're afraid to take this step, this action. But what I'm really getting a sense of is that you're going to free yourself, because the truth will set you free, literally. And you need, because what's going on in your head is holding you back. You've condemned yourself. You haven't even put it out there to find out how other people actually perceive what you think is so wrong. You might find yourself being very disagreed with, and they're writing yes. And there's just something behind this fear of exposing yourself, and you're creating, like, sort of the worst case scenarios around it. This might have to do with something socially, right? So we have the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups is sort of a social butterfly, right? He's got a way with people. He's very charming. People just swoon in front of him. He comes across as this brave person, and I don't know if it's an attitude where you think you have to be like this in order for people to like you. I don't know why I'm seeing the word symphony and what context that could mean. But, with a symphony, there are many instruments, there are many people playing those instruments or operating those instruments in order for this music to be performed. So it's sort of like your part is very important. It's like, it feels like you need to step up and play your part in the symphony of life, or within a company, or within a situation that you're concerned about, and maybe you're hesitant to speak, to share your ideas, or to put yourself out there. And it's something about where you feel like you've made a mistake, and maybe you're afraid to ask for help, or maybe you're afraid to tell people that you made a mistake, or you're afraid to tell people you don't know what you know. Something about this, you wonder about people like this, right? Because the people who seem like they just, they're good out there in the social scene, and we kind of put them up on a pedestal, like, oh, they don't have any, they're just perfect. They do it all with just ease. And we don't see that they have gone through similar things, or they may not have it to the extent that you do, but they always have it. It's a little bit of it in the back of their heads. And maybe, the way they, flaunt themselves and put themselves out there is another aspect of that same fear, just on the other side of the coin. So if you're using this kind of, if there's another person and you're using that person to, say, kind of intimidate you, and you're projecting that onto them, right? You're using them as like your golden standard, and then you see yourself over here. Well, then you're creating this huge gap, and so it's like you can't reach that goal because it just seems like too far to leap to get there. And for this person, it seems like they just, when they leap, they fly. they don't, you're worried about just leaping and dropping to the bottom. And it's interesting that these streams or rivers are in here. And it feels like something about going with the flow. You know, you have to go with your own flow. You have to trust yourself, and be able to just go with that. Now, the card here is the Ten of Cups. So this is either something about a long-term goal, career-wise, or you're thinking about, you're thinking about your long-term goals, in terms of your career. You're thinking about, or you're thinking about your finances. You know, maybe there's a mistake you've made, and you feel like you're you know, you're now sort of off course for your goals. Okay, and just the things that happen in this card. It's like, you know, maybe people look up to you or something, and you're feeling a little bit intimidated to sort of uphold your social standing. And maybe, you know, following your truth and following your heart is difficult because maybe you feel like that you would have to compromise this. Or if that thing you did that you feel is your fault has maybe already compromised this, but you're afraid of your social status and what, you know, the people around you that might fall away or might lose confidence in you. And so there's something here where, you know, again, so this idea is simplifying. We don't need as much as we think we do, and then letting the universe add it on to you. It's almost like that, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And so maybe the thing is that you have to do the right thing first, meaning you have to, if it's that admitting something just seems like the end of the world, push through that fear and do it. And accept what unfolds, because what unfolds is what needs to fall away, and what's left is what you need to cherish. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a gift. Because now what's left around you to cherish are the people and the things that won't weigh you down. Your heart will now be lighter and freer to rise to those higher frequencies of inspiration. And you'll see that if you don't judge yourself, if you can find gratitude for the way things unfolded, that's why that's, you know, I know I've heard it my entire life since I was a child. There's a reason for everything. And not until this year did I really understand it. There is a reason for everything. And even a situation like this explains it. They just wrote the word inflation. And so this inflation is creating, crisis is sort of creating a lot of fear. What is it doing? This contrast. If we're not thinking about things as evil, but we're thinking about things as tools, what is it doing? So it's probably causing us to think about what's important to us. And that might even be a painful process, and it might hurt, and it might feel like, what's the word? Not a promotion, but a demotion of status, of comfort. But what if the purpose of that inflation is to help us to smell the roses that they're saying? in front of me? What if it's there for just that purpose? That you learn to smell the roses, you learn to cherish what's really the treasures in your life. What if it gives you more room to breathe, as they write in the word rest? Breathe, to rest, to relax. Because the whole thing is that there's so many things we think we need, and we think we need them to the point that we keep even trying to uphold them. We keep feeding them as if, all of our happiness resides in there. So I got to keep feeding them, and then they burst, and then you think you have nothing. But you don't notice the immediate reaction in your body of release of tension and stress. We don't notice the benefits that now that I don't have the stress, now that that's over, that my body living in that tension, constriction, was actually causing me to age, causing me sickness, disease, and diminishing health, ultimately leading to shortening of the lifespan. This is the price we pay for complicating our lives with attachments and things that we don't need. This is also what makes you feel like you're enslaved to the system. A friend of mine and I have been talking about I just wish I could live off the grid, And there's a reason why probably a lot of us feel like that. Like we just want to get out of the matrix. We want to be free. We want to be liberated from it. But the matrix is this illusion, this fear-based ego collective that we've created. And all of the decisions and happenings are just a reflection of the feeding, pouring in of our energies into this fear-based ego collective. So, and it's not until we simplify our manner, our practice, spiritual practice, our behaviors and our attitudes, when we simplify the way we think and our dependency on things, we have to first die unto these things in order to be born free again. And to be reborn free means that now you have what you really need. And you are able to then appreciate because you have less responsibilities on you to maintain or manage. Does that make sense? You can have more compassion when you're not stressed. You can have more compassion, more love to express when your body and your mind and your heart are not cramped by stuff. Your soul is asking for a resignation from all of this so that it can be its full potential of the expression of love that its source is. It wants to be in full alignment with its source. It wants to be in full alignment with the downpours, all flowing throughout the universe all the time, through all dimensions. It wants to be connected to all of this. It wants to be in the flow of itself, feeling natural and authentic and genuine. It wants to be here to uplift and to be uplifted. It wants to be loved because it's already loved. And it wants to know it's special because it is special because of what it is that holds it special, that holds it dear and treasures it. The source treasures, God treasures us. We are special to it, and we know it because it's already resonating throughout everything within us. But these things that we have become attached to out of fear, and we're not saying you can't have the entire everything in the world that you want, but when it's through fear, you have to worry about it. And it takes time to learn how to accept and embrace all of what God would want you to have, because your ego is constantly shooting it all down and shooting you down in the process, because it's afraid too of the failure. All right, let's take a look at the card that I pulled from the bottom of the deck, and it's the Chariot card. When I laid that down, it was clock said 46:46. That's interesting. All right, I'll look at that in a minute. So the Chariot card, well, you see now our friend here is moving at the speed of light. And look, it's interesting because those birds, those two birds there, they're here, they are here. And he's soaring through the stars. So this is a week of intense focus. The universe is focusing on you. It's really what the Lionsgate is about. It's focusing on you in a very special way. It's helping you to move, shift. Again, think simple so that you don't miss out on those little gifts of hope, right? Where do you see yourself moving? Where do you see that momentum focusing in on your life and helping you to shift? Even if it's in your behavior or your attitude or your gratitude, or that you feel expansion, you feel free, you feel unrestricted or less restricted. You don't have to be, or things don't have to be extraordinary in order to be a miracle. And extraordinary can apply to the simple. I think the complicated is probably more ordinary, wouldn't you say? Because if you talk to most people, they're just stressed out and their lives are complicated. And there's nothing extraordinary or miraculous about it. It's mundane. It's negative. So start smelling your roses. Focus on the roses. Focus on the natural things that come to you naturally, your gifts that come to you naturally, an ability that comes to you naturally, a skill that comes to you naturally, or a book that just that just touches your soul, or a piece of music or a piece of art, whatever it is. That inspirational touchstone is a touchstone to help you to connect in to the miraculous love that exists at all times. And that's available to you. That's your rainbow. And you feel when you know what that connection is, utilize it, because the door of your heart and the love of the universe will pour through you continuously and unending. My God, we're over the time I usually go. So let me just take a look at this number here. It says, the angels are saying to you, 46, keep your thoughts focused upon your spiritual self and your divine source for everything. Give any material worries to us. And that was like 46, 46. That's a double emphasis. And I just want to remind you at this point that if you're looking for an angel reading with me, you can go to my current webpage, theangelschool.com/services, and you can sign up for my first-time promotional angel reading, which is the offer from I'm giving right now is my discounted 1-hour reading, and it's available to everyone this year, unlimited. Okay, and I wish you an incredible week of manifestations and of clarity and empowerment and inspiration. Hope. God bless you.